Hello and welcome to Animal Ethics in Action, a YouTube channel that aims to look at current affairs, the sort of things that we read, talk, think about from the point of view of non-human animals. I am Natalia. I am involved in the running of 3 animal protection organizations, and one of them is Urban Squirrels, a London-based wildlife rescue unit that specializes in grey squirrels, rescue advice and advocacy. Pip is one of our clients. He is a disabled squirrel. He's got a spinal deformity and his back legs are very weak, but he gets by. He's very happy here. We have several disabled squirrels living with us because they can't be, they could never live in the wild anyway. But Pip is different. His personality is different somehow. He is into whatever humans are into. He will just kind of sit here staring at the screen while I'm recording, for example. So what Pip and I would like to focus on today is a piece of news that was reported a few days ago by the BBC. Electric eels have been discovered to hunt in groups. Now this, I don't know, maybe this does not sound very exciting to you. I think it's very exciting. I think electric eels are amazing animals. They're not actually eels, they're catfish or carp, that sort of creature. They live in South America. They're huge, 2 meters long, and they're like floating batteries. They can produce a zap that is 4 times as strong as whatever comes out of electric sockets in UK homes. Now, up until recently, it was thought that electric eels were solitary creatures. Now it's been discovered that they hunt in groups. They kind of join together to herd the small fish that they want to eat into shallow waters, and they zap them together. Now, this social predation, it's called, is actually not that common among animals and is evidence of a higher cognitive organization than previously thought. Now, the ethical issue that comes out of this news item has to do with animal sentience and with the precautionary principle in animal sentience. Now, the precautionary principle is, well, basically, if in doubt, don't. It can be illustrated in the following way. Imagine you're driving along the road and you see a kind of a pile of rags in the middle of the road shaped like a human being. Now, you probably say, well, it can't possibly be a human being lying there like that. But just because you thought, oh, looks like a human being, you are going to drive around it, or maybe even stop the car and try to pull it off the road. Because of that tiny element of doubt, what if it is a human? And that in animal ethics, that is something that is used in exactly that way. If you think a creature might be sentient, might be capable of suffering, you might as well not cause that bit of suffering. The actual bigger issue of animal sentience, of course, has to do with the fact that animals feel things. They feel fear, they feel joy, they feel pain, they feel pleasure, they look forward to things, etc., etc. Animal sentience itself is not disputed by either philosophers or scientists. Scientists kind of coordinate that with the presence of a spinal cord in the animal's anatomy. But what is a problem is the sphere of application. Number one, sphere of application of animal sentience. In other words, which animals are sentient and which are not. And also the legal side of the issue, how we put this in practice in our laws and our society, the fact that animals are sentient. So the first issue is the sphere of application of sentience. The thing is, there are some animals, such as the higher primates and elephants and dolphins, where everyone kind of knows they're sentient, perhaps they're even persons. There are other animals, our traditional companion animals, not you, Pip, cats and dogs, who are also, no one doubts their sentience because they lead a human sort of life. They eat and exercise and go to the vet in a human kind of way. They lead a human kind of life, so no one doubts that they're sentient. But then there come more problematic issues such as farm animals. Now, if anyone asks, stop someone in the street and say, would you think that cows and sheep and chickens feel things? They will probably say yes. But then in spite of that, people would still eat them. And that is, that's probably a case of kind of conditioned ethical blindness, when people in society are conditioned not to think of these creatures as sentient beings, and so that's why they eat them. And then there are yet other animals, typically fish or crustaceans, where it is not clear to many people whether these animals should be considered sentient or not. And that's why there are some who are, well, for ethical reasons would refuse to eat meat, would still eat fish. And here is where the precautionary principle really comes into its own. If in doubt, don't. If you think this animal might be sentient, might be capable of suffering, better not cause that suffering. And this is, well, the reason we should apply the precautionary principle is precisely because things like that bit of news about eels happen all the time. Ethology, the study of animal behavior, moves on. New things are discovered about animals all the time. Actually, the scientist who reported the social predation of electric eels actually studied these animals for about 20 years, and yet he discovered something new about them. And these things happen all the time. We find out new things, so better, if in doubt, don't cause suffering, basically. So that is one issue around animal sentience, the sphere of application. The other one is the legal side of things, whether animal sentience should be enshrined in law. Now, it seems to be a kind of a very clear-cut case. If scientists agree that animals are sentient creatures, if philosophers agree, then why not say so in law? And indeed, it is stated in European law that animals are sentient creatures. It became newsworthy, as it were, here in the UK in the context of Brexit. When we were in the process of leaving the European Union, we had to decide which laws we are taking with us and which are not. Animal sentience is one of these things that came up for debate and actually was rejected. And at the time, well, I mean, all animal protection people on social media were absolutely shocked. So what do politicians believe that animals don't feel, that they're not sentient creatures? How kind of backward can you be? The reply from the politicians was that, yes, we do believe in animal sentience, but enshrining it in law is dangerous because there are certain consequences to that. There will be some things that follow from animal sentience. Well, most obviously, they should not exploit them. You should not cause them to suffer. And this is what the politicians did not want to happen. I think somebody kind of said in so many words, if we say that animals are sentient, then animal rights people will demand A, B, C, X, Y, Z. And of course, well, in some ways, yes, we will. And not because we're bloody-minded or kind of want to cause trouble, but because there are some things that logically follow from animal sentience. And that is certainly that you should not eat them or hunt them or experiment on them. And yes, we will continue to press for those things in society, but that really, whether it's enshrined in law or not, animal protection activists will continue to campaign for these things. And so if you, well, basically, if there are any animal protection organizations that you specifically follow or support, when and if they do write to you asking you to sign petitions, write letters to decision makers on the subject of animal sentience, please do so. It is something that is worth acknowledging in law, because the situation at the moment in the UK is quite dire, really. Animals are regarded as things, mostly. For the sake of legal proceedings. So if you steal a dog, the penalty would be the same as if you stole some sweets from a corner shop. This is not, I mean, not only illogical, it's clearly out of sync with public morality. And actually, well, even in Europe, where animal sentience is enshrined in law, it's still problematic. I mean, I think in Spain, for example, there was a very successful campaign, Animales no son cosas, animals are not things, but bear in mind that this sort of campaign was necessary in a country where animal sentience was already enshrined in law, as it is not in this country. We are, if you like, have a bit more of a job on our hands, don't we, Pip? So that's, well, basically to sum up in terms of animal sentience, two things about it. One, if there is a possibility to campaign for enshrining it in law, please do support these campaigns. And in terms of our own interaction with animals, if in doubt, don't cause suffering, or at least try not to, because science will reveal to us more and more how far more cognitively capable animals are than we give them credit for. There are many versions of this saying, the more I find out about people, the more I like dogs. Well, I would say the more we find out about both people and dogs, the more we realize there isn't that much difference. Although I probably still prefer dogs. But anyway, let me know what you think, and please do subscribe, like, comment if you feel like it. The reason people who record videos ask for this sort of thing is because, well, the more attention like this, likes and comments a video gets, the more likely YouTube is to show other viewers content to do with animal ethics. So it's worth doing if you feel like it. Otherwise, Pip and I will see you next week. Thank you.